What does Hunter's flip mean for college football?
The playing field is leveling. It's still upon these institutions to make sure that they are ready for this influx. But Prime has changed the game with this particular signing, because now what it says to, it's not really about other colleges. Like Alabama is still going to rank very highly in recruiting. A&M will still rank very highly, LSU. So before all the panic and pandemonium starts, all of your big-time Division I institutions will be fine. Y'all will still have TV and your contracts. It's just now it'll be some new people to the party. And that's what Deion Sanders is doing, Coach Prime is doing, because players attract TV cameras. Players attract fans. Players sell tickets. And that's something that we all know that Deion Sanders, primetime, the greatest cornerback to ever play in the NFL, understands probably more than any other NFL player in the history of the league understands. Remember, he came into the NFL at a time where it was supposed to be real chill, nobody too flashy, and Deion was the guy that said, I'm going to do it my way. But when we get on that field and when you put a camera in front of me, you're going to see intelligence. You're going to see a guy that understands the game. You're going to see a guy that has respect, the utmost respect from his peers. And I'm going to do all of this in the face of people telling me what I shouldn't be, or what I should look like, or how I should conduct myself. But HBCUs has a long history of great NFL players. Michael Strahan, Jerry Rice. When you think about all of these guys that have come from these institutions dating back. See, I grew up in the era with HBCUs where I actually went to Grambling State University games when Eddie Robinson, one of the greatest coaches to ever coach football, should be in the conversation for one of the greatest coaches to ever coach in college football. I was of a generation when my coach, Eric Randall, from my high school was the star quarterback at Southern University, a place where I thought about going when I was growing up. I grew up in the era when Steve Air McNair was at Alcorn State University and was the best college football player that I had ever seen in my life, and that didn't matter about Division I, Division II, anything. He was the best one that I've seen in college football. So to me, this is not something that is foreign. I've seen great players. I played with a player that was drafted by the Cowboys in the third or fourth round, who is one of my best friends today, Jason Hatcher, who ended up going to the Pro Bowl when he left Dallas. Ended up going to the Pro Bowl in Dallas, got a big-time deal from the Washington football team. My dad used to always tell me this when I was coming up: if you're good, they'll find you. And that's the message that Prime is sending. If you are good enough to play in the NFL, NFL scouts will show up and they will bring you to whatever organization they think you fit best. It's a paradigm shift, and it needs to be done. In order to bring attention to black colleges, in order to bring attention to HBCUs, Deion Sanders, one of the greatest football players, but athletes we've seen in our time on earth, decided to go to Jackson State University and change the narrative. And the narrative is now showing benefits because you get one of the top 5 players in the country out of high school to commit to you over all of these institutions where we thought it would be a foregone conclusion he would attend school.
Yeah, big fella, for me, honestly, what it does for me is if I was a Power 5 institution and an athletic director and a president and my coach either leaves or gets fired and we fire him, the number one person I'm calling is Deion Sanders. That's what yesterday does for me.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot to this story. First of all, he's becoming a really good coach. This is his first full season. He's got him in the championship game. If you read up on the stories of his players, they're disciplined, they're detailed. They won 6 games by single-digit score this year. That tells me good football. It wasn't like they're blowing everybody out and they're playing bad football teams. That tells me that they're a well-coached football team. And the last thing I want to make the point about is I've heard and seen since the news broke yesterday that, well, this is only about the NIL, because I believe he got a massive deal from Barstool, right? That young man got a big deal financially from Barstool. And it was contingent upon him going to Jackson State. That's not true. From my conversations that I've had about this young man's deal with Barstool, It was not it was going to be on the table no matter what school he chose.
He could get a deal anywhere.
Well, no, but like it wasn't like Barstool said to him, it's got to be the only deal. If you go to Florida State, we're taking it off. You know, and that speaks to me that he did choose Deion, and he did choose Jackson State because that's where he wanted to go. It wasn't a financial thing. It wasn't an NIL thing. And I wanted to make sure that everyone understood that. Kind of the conversations, or per the conversations that I've had, it was because of wanting to go to that school. And I think it speaks volumes to Deion, his ability to recruit, his ability to go and sit in a living room and convince not only a young man but his family that it's the right decision. And he's done a fantastic job of coaching football.
Let me just piggyback quickly on what you said, Dan, before we go to break. Because Hunter described that he always dreamt of going to Florida State. That's where he grew up. But now he's essentially feeling a bigger calling. And I just want to say how much I respect that young man for that. We can all learn from this teenager in that decision. Marcus, you had one last word?
Yeah, Molly, I was just about to say, you know, you and Stephen A. do a phenomenal job with HBCU Week. Y'all always show up on campuses and try to bring light and show love to that.
Yep.
Think about the opportunity that this kid has, along with a lot of other kids in the SWAC. Hugh Jackson just got hired at Grambling State University. Another guy with NFL experience that people will have eyeballs on. But the bottom line is, what you see Deion Sanders doing is what we've seen happen in real time in our business and in business in general. The media mediums have changed.
Yeah.
People have more of an opportunity to be visible without old school ways about going about it. Now, I'll tell everybody this, and mark my word that we said this on First Take. Watch how many TV cameras and trucks and nationally televised games happen at Jackson State University because of this move.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.